Welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by Civic Center IAS, where we will discuss the top 10 important articles from the UPSC CSE Prelims perspective, from the Hindu, the Indian Express, and the PIB. So the first article here is from the PIB and talks about the POSHAN Abhiyaan's holistic approach. In this context, we'll talk about it. See, this POSHAN Abhiyaan was launched on March 8th of 2018 in Jhunjhunu of Rajasthan, which is a flagship program aimed at improving the nutritional status of adolescent girls, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children of age 0 to 6 years. Furthermore, it seeks to reduce stunting, undernutrition, anemia, and low birth weight through technology, convergence, and community engagement. You have to know that the implementation is done by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Now, what are the key objectives of the mission? See, the first objective is to reduce the stunting in children between the age 0 to 6 years. And the second objective is to reduce undernutrition, which means the underweight prevalence in the children between 0 to 6 years. Thirdly, to reduce the anemia among young children, which means the 6 to 59 months, and then adolescent girls and women between 15 to 49 years. And lastly, to reduce the low birth weight of the children at birth. Now, there are a few strategic pillars to the mission. The first one is the access to quality services, where strengthening schemes like ICDS, National Health Mission, and PMMVY, particularly in the first 1000 days of child's life, is observed. And the second one is cross-sectoral coverage, where the coordination is done across ministries, including the Swachh Bharat Mission and the National Drinking Mission. Then leveraging the technology, where the usage of POSHAN Tracker, for the real-time data monitoring and intervention is done. And last one is the Jan Andolan movement or the mass movement, where the community participation is done for the behavioral change towards nutrition. Now, what are the various priorities with respect to like POSHAN Abhiyaan? So we are ensuring proper nutrition and health care for the mother and child from the conception to 2 years, strengthening existing health and nutrition programs through multi-scheme integration, and encouraging collective action to eradicate malnutrition, and multi-sectoral coverage, where I said National Council on India's Nutrition Challenges ensures policy coordination and periodic review. Now, what is the mission Saksham Anganwadi and POSHAN 2.0? See, the mission Porto 2.0 integrates the existing nutrition-related schemes to enhance health, wellness, and immunity. Moreover, it covers 14 lakh 117 Anganwadi centers across 33 states and 781 districts. Significantly, the nutritional benefits reach over 10 crore beneficiaries, which includes children, adolescent girls, pregnant women, and lactating mothers. Now, moving on to the second article. The second article says that in the wake of average or overall air quality of the Delhi recording poor air quality category, ranging between 201 to 300, the subcommittee for invoking actions under the GRAP, which stands for Graded Response Action Plan, of the Commission for Air Quality Management in the NCR and adjoining areas, met today to take stock of the current air quality scenario of the Delhi NCR region. In this context, we'll talk about the Commission on Air Quality Management and then the GRAP guidelines. See, the Commission on the Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and the adjoining areas, in short is called the CAQM, is a statutory body established under the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Act of 2021. Know that its primary mandate is to oversee the air quality management in the National Capital Region and the adjacent areas, ensuring a coordinated approach to tackle the air pollution. Now, if you have to look at the key functions and powers of the CAQM, firstly, it acts as a regulatory authority, where the CAQM has the power to issue directions or the directives to control and prevent air pollution in the NCR and adjoining areas region. Know that these directives are binding on all concerned parties, including the state governments, pollution control boards, and industries. Then, with respect to the coordination, it facilitates the collaboration among various state governments like the Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh, and the central government agencies to effectively address the pollution. And lastly, it also does the research and monitoring, where the commission conducts the research related to environmental pollution impacting the air quality and monitors the implementation of laws and standards for the air pollution control. Now, what about the Graded Response Action Plan? See, it is a significant initiative under the Commission for Air Quality Management is the implementation of the Graded Response Action Plan. So the GRAP is an emergency response mechanism that delineates specific actions to taken based on the air quality index levels in Delhi NCR region. Furthermore, to prevent the deterioration of air quality and to mitigate the pollution levels when they reach critical thresholds. Now we have to know that there are 4 stages in this GRAP 4. So stage 1 are invoked where poor air quality is observed between 200 to 300. Stage 2 are invoked where very poor air quality is observed between the 301 to 400. Stage 3 is observed when there is severe air quality, which means the air quality index is 401 to 500. And stage 4 is invoked where it's severe plus or emergency category, where the air quality index crosses 450. Okay, so these are the different stages of GRAP 4, and each stage has some particular measures. Like for example, for the stage 3, steps include imposing restrictions on construction activities and implementing odd even schemes, which you might have seen in news for the private vehicles, where the stage 4 involves more stringent measures such as banning the entry of trucks into Delhi, except the essential commodities, stopping construction activities, and closing the educational institutions. So recently what happened in December 2024, the CAQM issued a comprehensively revised schedule of the GRAP to strengthen the measures against a sudden or anticipated deterioration of air quality during the winter months. So the revised plan emphasizes proactive actions and stricter enforcement to combat air pollution. The third article here from the Hindu says that drumming up the support from the chief ministers and the former chief ministers of states likely to be affected by the delimitation process, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin wrote to them on Friday requesting their consent to join a joint action committee. In this context, we'll talk about delimitation and its process. See, what is delimitation? See, in simple words, delimitation refers to the process of defining the number of seats and also the boundaries for the territorial constituencies in each state for the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly. Right. So, what is the process for it? See, the process includes firstly fixing the seats, where establishing the number of electoral seats for each constituency is observed. Then the boundary is defined, where the determining the geographical boundaries of these constituencies is done. And lastly, allocating specific seats for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. You have to know that Article 82 and Article 170 of the Indian Constitution mandate the readjustment of seats and constituencies after each census. But who does this? See, this delimitation is done by the Delimitation Commission that is set up under an act of Parliament. So, till now, 4 delimitation commissions have been set up. So, first one is the 1952, second is 1963, third is 1973, and fourth one is 2002. Now, moving on to the next article, it says that the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, has informed the National Green Tribunal that the water at the Sangam during the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj was fit for bathing after taking median value of the fecal coliform at the confluence into consideration. In this context, we'll first talk about the National Green Tribunal and then we'll look at the Central Pollution Control Board. See, the National Green Tribunal is a statutory body. Established under the National Green Tribunal Act of 2010. So the main objective of it is that it provides effective and expeditious disposal of cases related to environmental protection, conservation of forests and other natural resources, and the enforcement of legal rights pertaining to environment. So the principle it is guided is by the principles of natural justice, and in general the NGT flows from the right to healthy environment as part of the right to life under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now, what are the different powers of NGT? So firstly, it has the powers of adjudication, where the NGT has the authority to hear and decide cases relating to environmental protection, conservation of forests and other natural resources, and enforcement of any legal right relating to environment. Secondly, it has civil and criminal jurisdiction, where it possesses both the civil and criminal jurisdiction, allowing it to hear cases related to environmental violations and offences. Furthermore, the jurisdiction has various acts like the Water Pollution Prevention and Control Pollution Act of 1974, the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Act of 1977, EPA of 1986, Forest Conservation Act of 1980, Public Liability Insurance Act of 1991, and the Biological Diversity Act of 2002. Furthermore, the NGT Act outlines penalties. Why the penalties, including the imprisonment up to 3 years, fines up to 10 crore rupees or both, based on the violation's nature and seriousness. And also the NGT has unique powers related to granting to the authority to take up environmental issues nationwide without awaiting specific case filings. And also the NGT can review and challenge decisions, acts or omissions of the government or any public authority that have caused environmental harm. So these are the various powers of NGT. But if we have to talk about the Central Pollution Control Board, see, it is a statutory organization and was constituted in September 1974 under the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1974. Furthermore, the CPCB was entrusted with the powers and functions under the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1981. So it serves as a field formation and also provides technical services to the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Climate Change under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. Now, what are the principal functions of CPCB? Firstly, to promote the cleanliness of streams and wells in different areas of states by prevention, control, and abatement of water pollution. Secondly, to improve the quality of air and to prevent, control, or abate air pollution in the country. And lastly, there is a significant initiative taken by the CPCB, which is the National Air Quality Monitoring Program, which aims to track the air quality status and its trends across the country. Now, moving on to the next article. The next article says that Supreme Court on Friday said in a petition highlighting the trauma and the inhumane conditions suffered by Professor G.N. Sai Baba and the elderly Stan Swami raised a serious issue about the lack of disabled-friendly accommodation and facilities in prisons across the country. Furthermore, the Persons with the Disabilities Act does not have a legal framework to protect the rights of prisoners, said the plea. In this context, we'll talk about the rights of the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016. See, it replaced the Persons with Disabilities Equal Opportunities Protection of Rights and Full Participation Act of 1995 to align with the United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which India ratified in the year 2007. So the Act aims to empower the persons with disabilities by ensuring equality, dignity, non-discrimination of all spheres of life. So if you have to look at the highlights of the Act, firstly, the Act increases the types of recognized disabilities from 7 to 21, covering the benchmark disabilities and high support need cases. And secondly, the persons with disabilities have equal rights to education, healthcare, employment, access to infrastructure, and participation in political, economic, and social life. The reservation in the higher education institutions increased from 3 to 5%, and the reservation in the government jobs increases from 3 to 4%. Then, with respect to legal rights and protection, the Act penalizes discrimination, abuse, and exploitation of persons with disabilities with fines and imprisonment, establishing a grievance redressal mechanism in every establishment, and it ensures guardianship of the persons with disabilities. Then the accessibility and social security, with respect to that, the government must take measures to make up all public places, government offices, and transport and ICT systems accessible, and they are bound by a time-bound compliance within 5 years for ensuring accessibility in infrastructure. So, what about the institutional mechanism with respect to it? So the central and state advisory boards on disability advises the governments on policy matters related to persons with disabilities. Then the chief commissioner and state commissioners for persons with disabilities ensure and implementation and redress grievances. Lastly, we have the district level committees which monitor the local implementation of the act. Moving on to the sixth article, it says that India on Friday called for inclusive participatory polls in Bangladesh amid demands to ban Awami League and expressed deep concerns over the activities of extremists as it called for the protection of the rights of all minorities. In this context, we'll briefly look at what about the Bangladesh. See, it is officially known as the People's Republic of Bangladesh, which is a South Asian nation that emerged as an independent and sovereign country on 16 December of 1971 following a 9-month war of liberation. Know that Dhaka serves as its capital city and it is situated on the Ganges Delta, bordered by India to the west, north and east and Myanmar to the southeast and Bay of Bengal to the south. Know that it has a population of around 147 million, making it the world's 8th most populous country. So with respect to other global rankings, it has the 4th largest Muslim population in the world and 3rd largest among the Muslim majority communities. Then the population density also, with respect to that, it's 4th largest, and the geographical features means it is home to Ganges Delta, which is the largest delta and the westland globally. Cox's Bazar boasts the longest natural sand sea beach in the world. Now, what about the political structure? See, the government is unitary parliamentary republic where the executive branch consists of the president acting as the ceremonial head of the state elected by the Jatiya Sangsad, whereas the prime minister is the head of the government, leads the cabinet. Then we also have the legislature with 350 seats, which is unicameral in nature, where the 300 are elected and 50 are reserved for the women. Furthermore, the judiciary is there where the Supreme Court with the appellate and the High Court divisions. So this is all you need to know about Bangladesh. Now, moving on to the next article, it says that the butterflies in the United States are disappearing at an alarming rate, with a new study revealing a 22% decline in their populations over the past 2 decades. Furthermore, the scientists warn that this dramatic loss signals an urgent need for the conservation efforts to protect these essential pollinators from further decline. In this context, we'll see what the study has got to say. So a recent study in the New York published in the journal Science reveals significant 22% decline in butterfly populations in US between the years 2000 and 2020. So if you look at the key findings, firstly the overall decline amounted to 22% in the butterfly abundance over 20 years. Furthermore, 33% of the sea species showed significant declines, where the extreme population losses of 107 species declined more than 50%. So, like, what are the key preferred habitats or the environments for butterfly? See, butterflies thrive in the diverse habitats, including grasslands and meadows, where they are rich in wildflowers, providing ample nectar and breeding grounds. Secondly, we have the forests and woodlands, where they host plants for caterpillars and shelter for butterflies. Thirdly, wetlands and river banks, where they provide essential moisture and diverse plant species for butterflies. And lastly, small gardens can act as mini sanctuaries if native plants and nectar sources are maintained. But now, why was the population declining? See, there were various reasons for the decline of population. Firstly, habitat loss due to urbanization, deforestation, and destruction of grasslands. Secondly, pesticide use and harmful chemicals affecting caterpillars and adult butterflies. Thirdly, the climate change leading to droughts are a double threat, and the rising temperatures disrupt the migration and breeding cycles. So ecologically, they are very important because they act as key pollinators, supporting plant and crop production, and they are indicated species which indicate the decline of wider ecological distress affecting other species. And they are integral to food chains, serving as prey for the birds and other wildlife. Now, moving on to the next article, it says that amid the controversy of a duplicate voter ID card numbers issued to some electors, the Election Commission of India on Friday said it would resolve the matter in the next 3 months by ensuring a unique national EPIC number to all voters. In this context, we'll see what the EPIC number is. See, the EPIC stands for the Electoral Photo Identity Card, which is an identity document issued to voters to prevent impersonation. So this was introduced in the year 1993. State governments started issuing epics under the registration of electoral rules of 1960. Furthermore, epic alone does not confer voting rights. Only those listed in the electoral roll of the constituency can vote. So, it contains the name, age and residence of the elector, photograph of the elector, facsimile signature of the registration officer and any other details as specified by the election commission. But how is the allotment done? See, each epic is assigned a unique number, which is a alphanumeric series consisting of 3 letters followed by a 7-digit number. Know that this number includes a functional unique serial number for each assembly constituency. So, since the year 2017, epics have been generated online using the Election Commission's Aeronet portal. Know that the replacement epics retain the original number. Now, moving on to the next article, it says that the Securities and Exchange Board of India Chairman Tuhin Kanta Pandey on Friday said that market regulator will come out with a plan to disclose any conflict of interest of its board members to the public as a step to improve trust and transparency. In this context, we'll talk about the Securities and Exchange Board of India. In short, we call it the SEBI. See, SEBI is a statutory body and it also acts as a regulator of the securities market in India. So the main role of it is to protect the investor interests, promote and regulate the securities market. So initially established in 1988 as a non-statutory body, it gained the statutory status through the SEBI Act of 1992. So if you have to look at the key functions of SEBI, see, firstly, SEBI controls the activities of stock market exchanges in India. Secondly, it safeguards the rights of the investors and ensures their investments are protected. Thirdly, SEBI regulates the stock market activities to prevent fraud, ensuring fair market practices. And lastly, provides educational resources to investors to enhance their knowledge of market operations. So what about its powers? See, it enforces the rules and regulations to harmonize statutory regulations and ensure the professional functioning of intermediaries. So the SEBI can investigate market malpractices and take action against the offenders. Now, what is SEBI composed of, or what is the composition of SEBI? See, SEBI consists the SEBI board consists of a chairman who is to be nominated by the union government and other members including the representatives from the finance ministry and the Reserve Bank of India. Know that the head office of SEBI is in Mumbai with regional offices at Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Chennai and Delhi. Now, moving on to the last article of the day. Today we have the National Women's Day, right? So every year on March 8th, the National Women's Day is celebrated, and the theme for this year is for all women and girls, rights, equality and empowerment, where this year's theme calls for action that can unlock equal rights, power and opportunities for all and a feminist future where no one is left behind. Central to this vision is empowering the next generation youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. So in this context, we'll talk about the role of women in India. See, in India, with respect to the India's democratic foundation, unlike many global democracies, India granted equal voting rights to women from its very inception. Also in the Constituent Assembly, we had 15 members who played a very crucial role in shaping the constitution, ensuring gender equality in law and governance. And also with respect to women governance and leadership, see, the presence of women in the highest offices, including the President of India, reflects an evolved political landscape. Furthermore, Article 243D mandates reservation for women in the Panchayat Raj institutions, with 50% seats reserved in 21 states and 2 UTs. Then, with respect to women in education and science, see, increase in the higher education participation from 32% rise from 1.57 crore to 2.07 crore, with leadership in medical, social sciences and arts. And also, women scientists in ISRO were the key contributors to Chandrayaan 3 and other space missions. And the Namo Drone Didi initiative was also launched, empowering the self-help group women in agriculture in using drone technology. Then what about the economic and financial development? See, the Jan Dhan Yojana, with that, over 55% of the bank accounts were belong to women, promoting financial superintendence. Then the Stand Up India and Startup India, under which over 75,935 recognized startups have at least one woman director. And also women in corporate leadership, like the woman Dr. Tessie Thomas, who is considered the missile woman of India. Then we have Dr. Vartika Shukla, who is the CMD of the Engineers India Limited. And then we have Kalpana Saroj, who is a Padma awardee. Then we also have women engineers and urban planners contributing to various roadways, metro projects, and smart cities. And lastly, even with respect to sports, the Olympic title World Cup holders like the PV Sindhu, Mary Kom, and also Mithali Raj. And then we have barrier breakers who contributed much, like the international wheelchair basketball player Ishrat Akhtar and Anita Kundu, who climbed the first woman who climbed the Mount Everest from both the sides. So in this way, many women have contributed historically to India, and there is a need to empower them and make them make rights accessible to them what they belong to. So in this video we have discussed 10 articles in total for today. We'll be back again with another video tomorrow. Thank you.